Okay. So here we go. It's auction day, finally. It's overcast, but it's not raining. It's a little cool. It's windy, but we're not expecting rain today. Long time coming on this. Is something that I always wanted to do. I don't know what's gonna happen because I've never done this before, but we have 210 vehicles here. Kelsey, Alex, Sean P, Zach, Kimberly, the whole entire team have worked crazy hard. Don't know what's gonna happen. Hopefully it's a success. It's the first time I've ever actually sold over 200 cars in one day. So stick with us and see what happens.
At 500, at 500, at 555, at 5, at 3, gotta be 3. At 300, at 333, at 3, gotta be 300, guys. At 300, at 3, I got 250, gotta be 3. At 300, at 333, at 300, at 3. Sold it, 250. Sold it, $700 number. 13T, Carrot.
1,300.
And now 14, 1,400, got 13, now 14, at 1,400, at 1,400, at 14, now 15, now 16, at 17, now 1,700, at 18, 1,800, now 19, at 19, now 2, at 21, at 21, now 2, 2,200, now 3, at 23, now 4, at 24, 4, 4, at 4, at 2,400, at 24, 4, 4, at 4, at 24, at 24, 4, 4, at 2,400, at 2,350, now 4, at 24 and a half, at 24.50, and now 5, at 25, now 25 and a half, 25.50, at 25 and a half, at 25.50, at 25 and a half, at 25.50, 25.50. Sold it, $2,500 on the Big Red. I rolled one of these in a creek in South Dakota.
That's a crick.
And it has a crick, yes, a crick.
Y'all take it easy on her.
Oh, crick is right.
6 and a half, now 7, 700, at 700, at 7, now 12, at 1,200, at 12, now 14, now half, 14 and a half, 14.50, at 14 and a half, at 14.50, sold it, $1,400 number, 8. Come on! Come on! 350. Remember the McDonald's thing, the Happy Meal, 350, at 300, at 50, and I tell you what, I'll help you out, 3 1/4. He's worth 25 bucks. Okay, 350. Sold it, 3 and a half, number 8. This one's got a title, 76 KZ 900.
2,900.
Gotta be 3,000. At 3,000, at 333, at 3. Got 2,900. Gotta be 3. At 3,000, at 3,000, at 333, at 3. Sold it, 2,900. Now 9, 9,000. At 9,000, at 999, at 87.50. Sold it, $8,500. It's a 68 Dodge Charger. It's got a title. It has been painted green. It originally was the B5 type blue. At 21, at 21,000. 21,000. Sold it, 20,000.
Now 97.50, 9,500, now 750. 11.5 on in, all done. Last and final call. 11,250. Sold 11,250.
Episode 153 on Coffee Walk. And also, just to note, I could not find another one when it's a customized, absolutely 48 truck, but I could not find another one on the internet. Dennis, you looked too, we couldn't find another one. So we believe this to be probably a 101.
5,100 bid. 52, 51, now 200 all around, 5,200, 5,200 all around, sold 5,100 Internet's way.
Here's what I know about this car when I bought it. It was that Danny Cannonball had it.
That's right.
In himself is one of the most famous motorcycle guys in the world.
That's correct.
And this was a famous drag car in that area. And that's all I knew, and I bought it.
So Dick Dyke owned a salvage yard in Worthington, Minnesota. And as part of the promotion for his salvage yard, he drag raced. He went all over the Midwest with this car. Apparently, and we don't have any documentation, that McCandless built this motor.
Oh, now, had Alex had known that a month ago, this car probably wouldn't be here.
No, it would not.
Or the motor may not be here. Well, Denny and his daughter and son-in-law both said that this car was really competitive.
John Bones, which is the son-in-law, he actually drove this car, actually raced it. He said that he knew this motor was made by McCandless, but he didn't have any documentation either, and that was 2 weeks ago.
There you go. There, now's your chance to steal the recycler.
72.50 is the bid to start. Now 5 and 7,500 75, 7,500 75, 75, 7,500 72.50. Now 5 sold 72.50 Internet's way.
So this was a really famous Cannonball. All Cannonball cars are famous and rarely get sold, but to have one that actually won, and this one held the record from '79 all the way to 2007. When we talked to the guys at Portofino, they said somewhere between 1,000 and 1,100 teams have tried it. And in 2007, we tried it, and we actually beat the record. We held the record from 2007 until I don't remember when, about 2013 or 14. So we didn't hold it as long as this car, but this car deserves to be restored. Whether it's somebody standing here buying this car, I believe whoever buys this car, that you will see it again and it will be famous, and you wish you'd have bought it.
Listening to him talk about that your average speed was 150 in your car.
We're not allowed to talk about any of that. This is really fast. Just do the math. Heinz actually came to the shop about 3 or 4 years ago. As Heinz had set the record, and that is the actual fuel cell that was in it when they set the record. So they were one of the first teams to do that. That's one of the original things that Rich and I learned. Is the whole trunk of the Marinella is fuel.
Oh yeah.
And so that's one of the reasons that really helped them. But that has been in Mr. Heinz's warehouse since 1979 when he took the car back, put it back together, put it on the used car lot, and sold it.
I mean, do you have any hints on anybody, if somebody wanted to do that race, what's something you want to tell them?
I wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't do it again.
Okay.
You asked one piece of advice, if you are going to do it, the lowest traffic count day in the United States is Mother's Day. And that's also when most of the police officers are at home. So there's your advice.
All right. I think that's good advice, and here we go.
All right, we've got 10,750 bid, $11,000. 14,000, 2.5, 14,250, 14,252, 14,000, 250, 14,250, 14,5, 7.5, 14,5 here, 7.5, 14,5 here to 750, 15,000 now, 250, 15, 2.5, 15,250 down here to 250, 252, 50 down, 10 all down, last chance, 15,250 down here to Cannonball, last chance and opportunity. 15, 2.5, all in, all done, 15,000, and night, sold $15,000, buyer 32.
Congratulations.
So it's going to another Cannonball World Record Center. Yeah, that's very cool,
There you go,
man.
Cannonball to Cannonball.
Cannonball to Cannonball. It's
Really?
home in the garage, yeah. I broke their record.
Really?
He's the record breaker.
Wow.
I'm the fastest man solo to drive across the USA.
Wow. And that was
There you go.
2020?
The one in the Mustang. The one in the Mustang.
Rental Mustang, and you took all that.
Yeah, I took all the seats
Go
out,
ahead.
put the fuel tanks in the rental car,
right,
and then I beat
Dennis,
the
come on
Smoky and the
down,
Bandit record in the
come
same
on
week.
Well, congrats, sir. I'm glad
That
you
is
got it.
fucking badass.
I got some parts for you, Shelby.
Okay.
I'm friends with Jason Phillips.
Oh, great.
This one is a 69 Dodge Coronet RT. Again, RTs are not easy to find. 440, 4-speed transmission. And we did not get a running data 60 rear end. And again, a Coronet RT. And what do you have on this one, Sean?
Just being that have history.
You in the car have this.
Oh yeah, we do.
The front or back seat?
You'd have to ask my parents that.
Okay. Alrighty, but anyway, again, Cornet RTs,
Cornet RT.
low production, and a good car, again, got a title.
40 rear end. Like
10, now 11,000. I'm a 10,000, now putting in 11. I'm a 10,000, now putting in 10.5. I'm a 10,000, now putting in 10.5, now 11. I'm a 10.5, 11, now 11.5, 11.5, now 12,000, now 12.5, now 13,000, now 14 then. Now 15. I'm 14,000, now putting in 15. I'm a 14,000, now putting in 15. Now 16, now 17,000. I'm a 17, now 18,000, now putting in 18. I'm at 18,000, now 19,000. I'm at 18, now 19,000, now putting in 19. I'm at 18, now 19,000. You can't win them all. 18, now 19,000, now putting in 19. Yeah, 18 now, 19 now, you won me. 18 now, 19 now, 19. Sold $18,000. What's your number, sir?
Got a new car, sir.
Sean.
This is a 1970 Chevrolet Camaro, badged as an SS. It's a complete car, and it's the original colors, original car, and it'd be a really good one to build. 70s are very popular, and it's lot 2001. At 5,500, at 5,555, got 5,500, now 6,000, at 6,000, at 666, at 6, now 5, 6,500, at 6,555, at 5, 6,250, 6,500, 6,750, 6,750, 6,750, sold it, $6,500 number. Episode 217 of Coffee Walk. The seats have been redone. It's got a small block V8 in it and the transmission in the trunk, but off of Coffee Walk. This is a really good car, guys, and it'd be easy to SS clone it, but very solid, very good car. Got a title.
I'm a 10,500, got me 11. I'm a 10,500, I'm putting in 1,100. 11,000, sorry, I'm a 10,500, now 11,000, now putting in 11. 10,500, now 11,000. Sold $10,500. I'm now hitting at 1,100. I'm hitting at 11. I'm 1,000 now hitting at 1,100. I'm 1,000 now hitting at 1,100. I'm at 1,000 now hitting at 1,100.
I'm about 3, but about 3, but a bit 3, 300 anywhere. I'm but a bit 300, 300. I'm but about 3, 250s on. I'm but about 3, 3, 3. But about 300 down. I'm but a bit. You get a place to live for $300. I'm but about 3, but about 3, 300 down. I'm but a bit 3.5. Sold it $250. All right, 300. I know, but about 3. 300 anywhere, but a bit 3. 300, 300. I know, but about 3. 250s on, up, but about 3. 300 anywhere, and I have 300. 300 anywhere. Sold it $250. Buyer number 3.
Now these actually, there's a group of them that travel around, so these are actually collector editions here.
Collector editions of 183T. It's a 1976 motor home. And it says as seen on Coffee Walk.
That's the one that ran over Sean.
21, 2. I know, but about 2,200 anywhere. 2,200. 3,200. Sold it your way, 3,100. 1983 Eldorado motorhome right here. Anything on this event?
Got a title.
It does have a title, Ford right here. Sold it your way, $300. 657. I know, but about 700. About 700. Sold it your way, 1,100. I know, but about $720. Have it about here. Last call, 750. Sold it your way, 700. Number 6. Number 6. 700.
Hey guys, thank you very much for coming out for the Restoration Revival Auction. Glad you got your boots muddy, had fun. Make sure to go to the trailer and settle up, and I'll have Dennis have some words here too.
Again, from me and Coffee Walk family, Collins Brothers family, thank you guys for coming out to Restoration Revival #1. Thank you a ton to Yvette Vanderbrink and her staff. It was interesting. It was fun. We learned a lot of things. I hate to see any of this stuff crushed.
Yeah.
So before you leave, walk through. If you see a number 3 on it, it's going to get crushed because they crush for more than $250.
Yes.
Nevertheless, thank you guys for being here. That's a wrap.
Yep.
Outstanding.
Thank you.
The day after the auction, we got lots of equipment out here. We got a Sky Tractor, also known as a Lowell. 2 big bumper forklifts. Black Mountain Jeep with a winch on the front. That's what it takes to get one on a trailer. Very important piece of the Heinz Yarborough Cannonball car. I think you might want that.
I do, and I knew that you said it was locked up, and I said, so let's make the most out of this trip.
Yeah, that's been in my office locked up, so it didn't go away from the car.
Yeah, that was when we were talking about Saturday, and they were like, you got to come back Sunday and load it, and I'm like, man, I'd really like to put that thing in the trailer tonight, because
you got it.
You know, a lot of that stuff winds up getting damaged because people are like, oh, that's such and such car, so they'll take an antenna, they'll pull the jag off the hood.
Yeah, that was a famous piece of it. Yeah, Richard had the fuel cell locked up, and I had that locked up.
Yeah, I was gonna talk to Richard. Maybe you know a little more than I do. A friend of mine who's a Cannonball historian said that you guys have Yarborough's jacket. Possibly.
Richard has it.
Richard has it.
He's got it.
I might need to see if I can, maybe talk to him about purchasing it to keep it with the car, or
he does have the jacket. He brought it when he came in and filmed because he wanted to see the car and came and presented us with the fuel tank.
Yep.
Because he literally kept that fuel tank. Because he sold the car right after they did the run, pretty much.
Yeah.
They brought it back to the dealership and took all the stuff off and sold his used car. That tank had been in his garage since '79.
That's so cool.
So he brought it in and then gave Richard the jacket. So he does have the jacket, but I don't own half the jacket.
No. I completely understand that. I would, it's totally up to Richard. It's keepsake, and along the way you get those things, and some of those things people want to hang on to. So I figured, maybe
I got a recommendation for you.
Yeah.
Show up with a case of Miller Lite.
Okay. All right.
That'll sweeten them up.
All right.
And you could probably get that jacket.
I'll definitely grab a case of Miller Lite and go over and see him.
Okay, now what I really want to see is, so Fred actually has a date-coded correct 67 Paxton supercharger for one of our Shelbys. Come on in, honey. Here's the mom. I'm dying to see that. Where's
right.
that?
It's
Don't forget this.
I won't forget that.
Okay.
I'll set this aside. Keep it safe.
Big box, I like that.
Box. Lots of parts. You want to take it inside and open it up?
Absolutely.
You want to open it up right here?
Got it?
Oh, I can carry it. It's probably easier for one than this.
Okay.
All right. I should have let you open it. It's your gift.
I don't see anything yet. So those of you out there that have been following, we've done 2 major shows on this car already.
Okay.
The guys I got it from spent 3 years trying to figure out exactly what the car was, and we figured it out. We've got it all fully documented now. This is one of the missing pieces because they set it up as a drag car. They took the supercharger off of it. So in '66, they made 11 GT350 supercharged cars.
Wow.
'67, they made 36. Some people will say less than that, but I believe it was 36. Out of those 36 cars, 1 was white. Out of all 67 Shelbys, period, only 1 left the factory with Le Mans stripes. This is the white supercharged car with Le Mans stripes.
So now you've got to paint it too.
Yes. Well, it's painted. It's white with Le Mans stripes, but it needs to be restored.
Ah, gotcha.
So it looks like there is a lot to the supercharger setup. So one of the main reasons people, and this was, you could check this box at any Ford dealership.
Oh, yeah?
But in '66, a supercharger was $549.95
That's a
on
lot
a
of money.
$3,000 car.
Yeah.
So in '67, it went up to around $800. So hardly anybody elected to do that. But there lots go with this. So it's not just finding the supercharger where you can find. See that right there, that code for Mustang? Because Paxton make these superchargers for everything. And you can put a lot of them on Studebakers. The fuel pump is specific.
There's the big one right there.
Okay. Another thing that a lot of people don't realize is the carburetor is actually different for a supercharged car.
Yep.
So that is exceptionally rare.
Do you know what the difference is?
Tell me.
No. First off, it has to be a 112 series Venturi on it. A lot of the cars were 108s.
Right.
A lot of people don't realize that when you have a supercharged car, it has to be a 112 size Venturi on it.
That's right, it's got to take more air and more fuel. Here's the big piece right here. Now all these ancillary parts that just came out of the box are the pieces you can't find. You can find these, but without all that, it doesn't work. Looks like it's been restored.
Yeah, I believe Craig went through it recently.
Okay. And this is either a 66 or 67. Wow. That is outstanding.
But this is the piece everybody notices. Whoopee.
Yeah, the Cobra Bucks. That is so cool. Look at that. So this goes on top of the carburetor. Boom. And then you got your hose. Well, I guess it's there and there and there. Oversimplified it. Man, I'm excited to see this stuff.
And you know what?
Look at that.
I made one mistake. I forgot one piece.
What's that?
The air cleaner.
Yeah, the breather that goes to...
I have the breather as well. And I knew if I boxed all this up, I was going to forget one piece.
Yeah, that's the piece that goes to the shroud in the front.
Yep, but I do have that. I will send it down to you, or I'll drive it down to you.
Either way, it's great.
So what you're missing that you didn't see is in here. That's the important.
Boy, that is very important. 66 day code. Really cool. So this is for the blower belt. That is a healthy belt.
Definitely.
You're not gonna throw that. Awesome. Wow, you just made my day.
Hey, excellent. Glad to do it. And like I said, I've got the air cleaner.
I'm not gonna argue with the price. That's what you said on the phone. There it is.
Sounds good.
Okay, so we just finished our first ever car auction of our own cars. How many cars?
206.
206 cars. That was a lot.
Yes, that was
Yeah,
a lot.
it was a lot. And we just kind of decided to sit down and talk about the auction.
So kind of going into this, my lead into Kelsey was, my very best pitch was, we're gonna learn a lot of things, but not to do.
We did learn a lot of things, but not to do. We learned a lot of things to do. We learned a lot of lessons. We learned a lot about auctions and cars and
how to do things the right way.
how
First
to
of
do
all,
things the right way.
you and Zach killed it on the marketing, so I'm pretty sure everybody knew about it.
I think so.
We had 327 bidders,
Online.
most online. I think the one big mistake I made is I didn't pray enough for better weather. It missed us by a day. So now that the sale is over, the weather has been perfect. Now it has actually been nice for loading the cars out.
It has.
Which again is another monumental task. It
We
takes
just thought it was over.
lots of equipment, lots of manpower. So in 3 days we've moved 98 cars.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, the first day, I think y'all moved like 25, and by the end of the day, I think everyone felt like they had moved all 206.
Well, I mean, these cars, some of these cars, part of the reason this came about was I've been looking for a piece of property for overflow cars and something that we could have at auction or storage for cars that are non-running that can sit outside. Well, 100 of these cars were there when we bought the property. So that's how this all got stirred up, in case y'all were wondering. And some of those cars have been sitting for a long time.
Well, I know there were some things out there that y'all kind of had to uncover that you didn't even know were there.
Correct. Some of them were so covered up you couldn't even see them when we bought the place.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So when you're starting moving a car that's been sitting outside in the Texas sun, good thing is cars aren't rusty, so they're really good for parts or for people to build. But 4 flat tires, brakes locked up, and they're heavy. So this has been a monumental task. I think quite a few people have asked, are we gonna do it again? We haven't made that decision yet, but we'll know soon.
We'll know soon. We'll know once all the cars are loaded up into the truck, and I think, you know, it's kind of like a bad relationship. You remember all the good things afterwards. So,
Right.
you know, I think we just kind of need a second to recover from it.
Or you remember all the bad things afterwards.
Yeah, or that could happen. I think we learned to wear a little bit more sunscreen next
Yeah,
time.
we're fine. My face is peeling. The auction itself went really well. It actually went smooth and faster than I anticipated for
It went very fast.
206 units. My thought for the next ones, if and when we do them, I'd rather just do like 100 units.
Yeah.
But that would be a quick auction. But you can actually walk around the cars, you can move around, and maybe we do it twice a year, and maybe we'll end up with good weather on one of them.
But I think for the next one, if we do it again and we just do 100 cars, maybe it won't go as quick because I want to like stream it live next time. I know we had the bidding going live on Proxy Bid, but I think we lacked that a little bit. Having a live stream going of the auction, I think that would have been cool because Because we know, I mean, not everyone can make it out, but a lot more people wanted to watch it than we're able to.
Agreed.
So, I mean, maybe even though if next auction we just had half the amount of cars, it may be twice as long because we'll be able to show more.
There's something I was very happy with. It doesn't really come out on the reel because we didn't interview very many of the buyers, if any, but there were buyers that came from all over the country, and a lot of them had specific parts they needed off of cars that they were doing a restoration on. This guy specifically had two 73 Grand Prix, and this car was going to finish both of them. Guy came down specifically for the black Grand Prix, needed the interior added. I mean, there were some really, really happy buyers.
Yeah, that was
and
cool.
I think the value was there. I'm not saying the car sold too cheap, but maybe they did.
Hey, isn't that the way it goes, though?
That's the way it goes. No risk, no reward.
Yeah, I mean, and I think we've learned our lesson, good and bad, at no reserve auctions, and I mean, it's worth the swing a lot of the times. It's worth the risk. It's fun.
I agree. It's a true auction. When it's no
It's a true
reserve,
auction.
It's a true auction. The highest bid gets it. Now, we did have crush value on some of the cars, which was below that. We have since sold most of them. My goal is not to send any to the crusher. So we're going to give it what do we have left over, which is not very many, maybe 20. We will continue to sell, and we'll list those for maybe 30 days or 60 days. Then if they don't go, they'll go to the crusher.
Well, that's kind of when we learned how much the impact of the weather had on the auction, I think, of the ones that were left over at the end. Then when people were coming back and picking up their cars, and the 2-3 days after that we had beautiful 75 and sunny weather, I mean,
Yeah, they bought more
they
cars.
bought more cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The buyers that bought cars would come back, pick up their cars, ask what was left, and I think the number was in the mid-30s, and now we're down to around 20.
Or on Instagram, on his Instagram account this morning, kind of put like a story out asking like, does anyone have any questions about the auction? Is there anything that they want to know about the results, about how it ended up? So we have been scrolling through that this morning, and we want to answer some questions.
Okay. As far as one that I wish I would have kept,
Oh yeah.
this is probably going to surprise y'all, but there was a blue C10 step side. I think it was a 1976 that had flames down the side.
Yeah.
Local truck, no rust. Highest sales, I believe, is a 68 Charger
68 Charger.
and the 69 Corvette. So Mopar's kind of ruled. I think almost all our high sales were Mopars.
I mean, those were our highest sales, but I think we were also pleasantly surprised. It was cool to see the interest in the three-wheelers.
Three-wheelers did well.
The three-wheelers did well. That was
No.
that was the most back and forth bidding. There were a lot of guys that you can tell enjoyed those in their childhood that were excited to get those back on them.
Well, there was 5 of them to choose from. You rarely see them.
Yeah.
I mean, the only time you're going to walk up on one is maybe if you're
They're
lucky.
in decent condition.
Yeah, a garage sale or yard sale or whatever. KZ900 did well, sold
Yeah.
$2,900. That ramp side truck did really well. Very unusual find. It sold for $3,100. What I was surprised at, and shame on you Trans Am guys,
Yeah, you weren't liking this one even the auction day. I saw
Wow.
you pasting over there.
the Trans Ams, there was I believe 10 or 12 of them, all sold for like in hundreds of dollars. And then I was really nervous because we're getting over to the GTOs. I'm like, good grief. I mean, there's so many people building restaurant Trans Ams. These were solid bodies with titles. I think we still have a few left, didn't even bring crush value. There was just no interest in Trans Ams. It's one of the hottest cars on the market. Then we get over to GTO row, and every single GTO sold.
Yeah.
And most of them sold for 3 to 4 times what the Trans Ams were bringing. So looks like GTOs are hot again.
Biggest failure. Failure of the auction.
I'm going to have to say probably the 68 Charger.
Yeah.
I never say what I paid for stuff on camera, but I paid considerably more for that car than it sold for. 68 Chargers are tough to find, and they're rarely cheap. That car had been in the garage since 1983. It was complete. Good car to either go back stock or resto mod, and it sold for 20 grand. Tough to find a good, real, complete Charger that's been in the garage that long for 20,000 bucks. The 73 Challenger, the guy was ecstatic they got that.
Yeah, he was.
Drove
Was
it a
that
long
the
ways.
guy- or you signed his hood, the hood?
Yep, you
Yeah,
did too.
yeah, or
Me and Alex and
whatever,
Kelsey.
something.
One was honored with some of the assets, but he asked us to sign the inside the deck lid on that car, so we
Okay.
did. And I guess the biggest surprise of the auction, and I had no idea, was Fred Ashmore showed up.
Yeah.
The Cannonball Jag, I was confident was going to have a bidding war on the internet.
We both thought that was going to sell on the internet and probably go overseas.
There were quite a few bidders. I signed up probably just for that because you could the bidders were in the UK, and then I know Ed Bowling from Vin Wiki was very interested in that car, a fellow Cannonballer.
It's kind of who I thought the car was.
And he did bid on it, but Fred Ashmore was there to buy it, and after talking to him after the sale, he was going to be the buyer pretty much regardless of what it brought.
Yeah.
So he was extremely excited to get that, and he came by the shop and brought in an extremely rare supercharger that we need for one of our Shelby. So that was a big surprise of the day.
And one of the questions was, how many Frito pies did Dennis have?
If I had more time, I would have eaten much more. I had 2.
And they were huge and amazing.
So the day of the sale, I never sat down, and then the next day when we loaded out, I only sat down twice.
My knees feel like I'm 80 years old. That mud out there, I think everyone's shoes were 20 pounds each.
But for those of you who bid, and for those of you that showed up, and for those of you who watched, and everybody that participated in the auction, thank you.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
And from everybody I've talked to in the auction business, a lot of people, they said it is almost impossible to make money on an auction the first 3 times.
Oh, hell.
So I'm not saying we're gonna do this 2 more times and not make any money, but it was tough.
Yeah.
I do expect the quality level to be higher on the next one. Some of those cars that sat outside for so long.
Well, I know when we started, the idea of this auction came up. We already had 100 really rough cars out there, so we stayed in the same lane with all the cars. 2
of the Cadillacs are going to Sweden.
I was gonna bring that up. Anything sell that are going to
2 of the Cadillacs are going to Germany. I didn't go through the complete note, but they went all over the United States and basically all over the world.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, that's for sure.
I think we did good.
So until next time.
Until next time.
She's smiling. It means I might go with this again. So we'll keep you updated. If you have a large group of cars that need to be sold, send your lead to social@cbjeep.com. We got the trucks, trailers, horsepower, and forklifts to move them. See you next time.